Hey guys, this is Bryce360, and I just wanted to talk to you about the beta of Halo 5 Guardians. Most of everything with Halo 5 Guardians has been pretty awesome experience for me. Everything from performance to the gunplay to the movement, the graphics, everything just seemed really smooth. I really understand that some people didn't really want Halo to change. I think it's for the better, especially going against games like Titanfall or like Call of Duty. Just that fast-paced feel. With the older Halo games, it just felt a little slow. One thing I did notice though, that when I was playing Halo 5, even though it seemed like everything was well balanced and there was very good accuracy, you did have to feel like you were a good player, you know, shooting guys, getting headshots. It was very important to play with your team. I found it very difficult to just solo on my own, especially if you're against another team that was together and they grouped up and they, you know, worked together as a team. And a lot of times when you were just in random matches and you weren't working together and there was another team that was, you would lose pretty bad. I also had difficulty getting anything above a double kill. Occasionally I would pull off a triple kill. I never actually got an overkill, but I did get things like killing frenzies. I don't know if it just needs more practice on Halo, or I don't even see them as often for even other players. And I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the competitiveness or just the ability to kind of dodge out of the way, but it definitely seemed like this Halo was much harder to pull off multiple kills. Maybe that will change once we get into maybe bigger matches instead of like a 4 versus 4, maybe just a larger, huge, like 16 player big team battle, and those might be more frequent. But definitely in a 4v4, it was much harder to get like an overkill or even more than a double kill. It seemed like it wouldn't happen as often as the original Halos. I really was glad that they kept in Sprint. A lot of gamers complain about Sprint. I think it's very important to have Sprint in a modern shooter. Without Sprint, I mean, you're a Spartan. It didn't really make sense to just kind of walk around when you can actually run. And they did add in penalties, which is very important. When you're being shot, you actually can't, it's really hard to actually sprint away. It seemed like, for me anyways, you couldn't actually sprint when you were being shot when you tried to kind of run on your own. They also added Smart Scope. Smart Scope, a lot of people, they'll just call it aim down sights. It has perks to it, and sometimes it doesn't. It's really nice with the sniper rifle especially. It feels very fluid, especially if you just hold the left trigger down and you're shooting a guy. You can pull it out real quick to, you know, get that one kill. It's definitely nothing like a Call of Duty. There's definitely a penalty if you get shot. It pulls you right out of there. And I find that I didn't really have to use the Smart Scope too often, but it definitely was nice when they were at a very far distance and you were trying to shoot them, and it seemed like you can pull off a little bit more accurate shots. Another cool thing that they did add was like Spartan voices and announcers. It was a cool thing. It's very subtle. I really noticed it a lot. Like, it was really nice with like the power weapons. You know, they kind of let you know that they were ready or they were going to be ready. It kind of focuses when you have these power weapons that come up. All the other players, they'll actually go for these power weapons, and it's really nice to fight over them. It brings a little bit more competitiveness to get to those weapons, and if you actually do get the weapon, it's a pretty nice reward, especially if you're fighting against a bunch of players. One thing I didn't find very useful was the ground pound. I know it's a little clunky to me. It's very hard to pull off. Even when you do successfully get in the air and you do the ground pound, it just seems like you have a higher chance of dying than actually using it. I usually don't like using the ground pound. I almost feel like if you are going to have that, you know, you should be able to immediately just, you know, jump up in the air, just a real quick maybe hover and then shoot down on the character you're trying to go for. It just seemed very difficult, and maybe it was just the positioning of where I had the hover at. I believe it's the right thumbstick. You have to press it in, if I remember correctly on that. Some people might have it more dedicated to a button, but I rarely seen anyone use it. Occasionally I did, but maybe it's something that takes a lot of practice. I did get the, you know, the to control it and kind of aim it around, but it just seemed not very effective. I also did want to go over a little bit about the different guns. I found it really nice that they added in, you know, a little bit more damage with the SMG. Some of the weapons did seem like they had a little bit too much distance. Like the assault rifle, even the SMG could really take out an opponent from a distance. It was okay, and I understand why they did that. Some people will complain about it. I'm not really sure if it's something that I feel has to be short range. You know, especially with the new Spartan movement abilities, because you can definitely get out of the way, and it's a nice way, even, you know, when you're kind of going against other players, to kind to be able to take them out if you just have that one weapon instead of having always those power weapons. There was a couple of games, you know, they kind of alternate and give you the Magnum, and then you have the battle rifle. The Magnum is a pretty good weapon once you get used to it. I really like the battle rifle. I'm not sure. I actually, in my opinion, I do prefer the battle rifle as a starting weapon. With the assault rifle, even the SMG would be cool, but I think that'd be a little powerful. The assault rifle is really nice. I usually pick up the SMG. I can get a lot of kills, especially when you know, maybe I turn a corner, switch to my SMG, and a player comes around the corner, and if they don't expect it, you know, the SMG will always win against an assault rifle battle. I did happen to pick up the rocket launcher. At first, I was very, very frustrated with the rocket launcher. It just, every time I seemed like I was shooting guys, I was hitting them with the rocket launcher, it wasn't killing them. And then after a while I started using it and I realized you actually need to lock onto them. You just zoom in and it will, you don't even have to zoom in, but you zoom in usually like from a distance and it'll lock into them red. You can shoot a couple of rockets off, and 9 times out of 10, if they don't have any cover behind, they'll actually die. So it is a pretty nice, cool feature. It feels modern. I like the old rocket launcher, but I do like the new one. It doesn't take up as much real estate on the screen. I think that's important, you know, with the big clunky rocket launcher and then with the Spartan abilities. I think having a very large rocket launcher, you ain't going to be able to see the screen as well, which, you know, I think it's better that they went this route. It's a nice change, and, you know, we've had that same rocket launcher slightly modified back in the day. It's probably a nice change to kind of switch it up a little. I also got to use I think it's the laser rifle, if I can remember. I might have got that wrong, but it's sort of, it is like kind of like a sniper rifle, but you have to shoot the guys multiple times. I go back and forth with this. Sometimes when I use it, it works very well for me. Other times it feels like it takes way too many shots to kill the opponent. I find that with that weapon, it's very important to get multiple headshots with it. If it's going to be scattered around the map, I feel like it's fine where it's at. But if it's going to be considered somewhat of a power weapon, they definitely need to increase the damage on that weapon. I know it's not really a sniper rifle, but it definitely is weak. In my opinion, it's a little bit underpowered. You know, maybe you just need better headshots with that weapon. But if you hit them in the body, I mean, it takes ridiculous amounts of hits with that weapon. There's also a couple of things that, you know, when you sprint, if you go into a ducking position while you're sprinting, you'll kind of do like this slide. That's pretty cool. I actually didn't use it that much. I think that is a pretty cool thing. What I did notice though, and I didn't really see this on a lot of Halos before, maybe I just haven't played Halo in a while, but it just seemed like it happened more often on this Halo, is a lot of people when they were fighting you and you were getting in a match and going back and forth with each other, they would crouch on you. Like they'd be in the middle of a fight and then they just like slowly like crouch down on you to try to avoid your shots. I didn't notice that much in the other Halos. I know it did happen, but this Halo they seem to do it a lot more. I'm not exactly sure why, if there's some secret to that, but I did notice that playing the beta that they, you know, did that crouching part. I also like the idea of when you do a full running sprint and you know, melee an opponent, it's an instant kill. That's a cool feature. It is kind of hard to pull off. There's always a penalty somewhere, and it's a nice little feature. The sword, that reminds me of the sword. I also got to use that as well, and for me, the sword's nice that you can run very quickly with the sword. and when you dash with the sword, you can kill your opponent pretty quickly. I don't like the way the sword's lunge system is. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't have that lock-on ability as much as the other ones that I could do. I'm not saying that's the way it is. It just felt like on the other Halos, when they light up red, you know, when you do the sword, they would do a lunge and actually go after them. Some opponents that I was playing against, it seemed like they were able to do that, you know. But for me, it felt a lot harder than the other Halos. Maybe they made it to where it was harder because of the fact that they do give you the advantage of the run. But the sword definitely doesn't feel as powerful as it did back in the day to me. I will say, guys, that Halo 5 has been a really, really good experience for me. They added new additions that were just a little bit of tweaks here and there, but the new movement abilities, I think, are a great addition. I believe, you know, it seems like the weapons are well balanced, especially for being a beta, and I believe that once the game actually does come out, it will only get better. For me, as of right now, Halo 5 is actually the best Halo that I've played. I've played Halo 1 through 4 and now 5, plus all the other side edition to Halos. And this one seems the most, it just seems so agile. It seems like Halo is Halo, but more modern. It's a really great addition, and I hope that they do, you know, continue to progress through this. And I'm sure that when Halo 5 comes out, it'll be great. Well, guys, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions, you know, comment in the comment section, and like and subscribe, please. Thanks for watching.